Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. It's episode 387. We've got a fantastic guest, somebody that's got extensive knowledge in the WordPress community, and that's Lee Blue. And Lee, what I'm going to be discussing with Lee during this episode is how to hire a great WordPress developer for your learning management system or your membership site, his own experiences of running a membership site for over a year, what he's learned from that, and what he sees still as the strengths of WordPress compared to some of the leading SaaS competitors like Kajabi, ClickFunnels, or Teachable. So, Lee, can you quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Jonathan. It's great to be here with you. I really appreciate the invitation to join you here. So basically, I'm Lee Blue, and the main thing that I'm doing right now is I'm running DoubleStack, which is a training program for WordPress developers who want to do more than just the technical side of things. It's really, the reason it's called DoubleStack is there's two areas of focus. There's the technical tools that you need to be able to really drive results for your clients. And then there's also the business development side. So like the marketing strategies to actually reach out to your ideal clients, and the business structure that you need to be able to sell like an upfront kind of build out of the tools, as well as the recurring revenue that comes in, and for more than just WordPress hosting and maintenance. And so when you put all that stuff together, you end up with a really nice business that you can scale to $5,000 to $10,000 per month on your own as a solopreneur, like freelancing WordPress developer.
That's great. Unfortunately, Cindy Nicholson, my co-host, isn't with us. She's kind of based in Canada, and her children have got the week off, and so she's dealing with her little tribe herself. But she'll be back soon, folks. So, Lee, let's get on with it. So, you're a client. You decided that WordPress is going to be a good solution for your membership stroke learning management system. You're either going to be using Lifter, LMS, or LearnDash. How do you choose somebody to help you build this website, this platform?
So one of the main things that I like to really focus on when when helping somebody to develop their WordPress consulting business is to pick a particular market to focus on. And if you're going to be the kind of person who wants to build WordPress learning management platforms for people, look for somebody who knows how to do that, right? So somebody like Jonathan, for example, somebody who's got experience in doing it. And what the thing not to do, in my opinion, is to just try to find a random WordPress developer off of Upwork or Fiverr or something like that who has never built a learning management platform before, and have you be kind of the guinea pig or the first at bat, so to speak, for doing that. And because there's so many little nuances with building like any kind of an online course that if you're doing it for the first time, you don't have really any experience. You don't really know what to look for. You don't know what to set up. Like the whole sales funnel for getting people onboarded in the first place, and announcing updates, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you kind of have to know how to do that. And if you're trying to hire someone who's never done it before, it's not usually the ideal situation.
No, so I think no. But on the other hand, we've all been there, haven't we, Lee? We've all taken a project which was our first project in that area. But as long as you're upfront and honest about it, but I do agree with you. Finding somebody that specialises in that particular area is probably a good starting point, because they've tried the tools. They should have done their research. They should have other people that can help and advise them and be able to bring them in. I'm not an active front-end developer now. I'm mostly the project manager and the marketer and the face of my company. But I've got a lot of resources, people that specialize with me in the learning management area, and I can bring on a very experienced team, or I have got an experienced team that works with me all the time. So that's what you're hoping to hire and buying in. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like to experience to get somebody who has the experience to know how to lead you to their success that you're really looking for. It's one thing to just like mash up a bunch of plugins and make something work. It's another thing to connect with someone who can actually present a path to success for you that is going to be outside of your ability to kind of develop on your own. So like if you go to just Upwork or something like that and say, hey, I need a WordPress developer to build like a learning management platform for me, then you have to tell them what to do. And the problem is you don't know what to say. Now, when you get in touch with someone like Jonathan, who has this whole team here, they'll tell you what you need to do to be successful. And that's a dramatically different thing.
I think you've put that, obviously because of your extensive experience, you put that so succinctly. And it's the fundamental thing that people don't understand when they're hiring people, freelancers, either domestic or offshore, is that if they don't have that knowledge, you are expected to know what precisely you want and be able to communicate that in an effective, clear way. And if you can't, the project is just going to go on and on and on and be very much over the initial estimate of what it would cost in time and money. Would you agree with that, Lee?
I totally agree. And not only that, but who knows if you've even gone in the right direction. I mean, have you ever heard the story about, all the guys that are in the jungle and they've got the machetes and they're whacking their way through the woods and everything. And, they're making great progress. And then finally somebody climbs up a tree to kind of look out to see where they're going. And the guy realizes, hey, you know what? We're going in the wrong direction. So he shouts out, hey, we're going in the wrong direction. We got to go the other way. And then the guy at the front of the line with the machete is like, but we're making so much progress. And it's like, what difference does it make if you don't really know if you're really going to get where you're going if you just start whacking at it and start heading, as fast as you can? What you really need is somebody who knows how to tell you what you need to put in place to get success. And if you've never run any sort of a training program or an online course before, you don't really know. And I'll also point out too, by the way, that's like, if you're on the developer side of all of this, that's why nobody's paying you any money really to do it. That's why it's so inexpensive. Nobody has confidence in the plan if it's up to the client, like up to the person wanting to run the program to put the plan together if they've never done it before. And there's a difference between feeling happy about the meeting and enjoying the personal interaction and feeling confident in the plan. Because you could be a really nice person and really, wanting to do the best work. And, there's no malice. You're not trying to hurt anybody. It's just that when you show up asking questions that your client doesn't know the answers to, and then they have to provide the answers, and then you expect them to pay a lot of money for that, there's a huge disconnect because there's no leadership. And without leadership, there's no confidence. And without confidence, nobody's really willing to invest anything in the plan because they don't know if it's going to be a good return. And that's really where things tend to fall off for developers.
Yeah, that tension, that scenario you've just described, I've been part of that, has been brought in, and it's been obviously the agency that's brought me in has absolutely no idea of how to get the project actually finished, and that's why they brought me in, because it's got to that terrible area where they're not terrible, horrible people, but it's just got to, there's absolutely no confidence that the actual project is going to get finished. And it's a terrible feeling, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And even if it did get finished, who knows if the end result is what you really need?
Oh, well, we're drawing a nice picture here, Lee. So let's move on and talk about the SaaS solutions. So, I think over the past, and I'm really interested to see what your thoughts about this. I just put this scenario to you. I think WordPress has been in a great deal of flex and change over the past 18 months with the introduction and the maturing of page builders. And then on top of that, we've had Gutenberg on top of what the page builders like Beaver Builder and Animator have been doing with Divi. So some of the complaints around WordPress about being able to do minor changes or add content that looked modern have been removed in the past 18 months. Some of the frustrating barriers to a lot of entrepreneurs and clients. And then at the same time, it's seen that things like Kajabi or ClickFunnels offer, a really easy solution, but in my experience, they don't. Um, but on the other hand, I haven't quantified how to explain the strengths of WordPress compared to things like Kajabi in a fair way. Have you got any thoughts around this, or do you think I'm just dribbling, really, Lee?
No, I think you're hitting on some really important points. I actually caught up with Matt Mullenweg a couple of years ago, and he and I started talking a little bit about the future of WordPress. I think it was 2016. It might have been. It was yeah, I think it was 2016. We were at WooConf, and I was actually I was presenting there, and Matt was there, and we had a chance to just talk for a little bit after the presentation. And we got to talking about what's the future of WordPress, where's it going to go, what's going on. And he said a really surprising thing to me. It was surprising to me at the time. And he said, our biggest competition is like Wix right now. And, I really feel like, and this is before Gutenberg was really even out there. And he's like, I really feel like our page building tools and the way that people actually, the workflow for publishing something really needs to kind of, get ramped up, and something more like Medium or Wix, where like with those really graphical, easy block section page builders. And the reason that I found that so surprising was because he thought like the main audience for WordPress were people who might otherwise build a Wix website. And the reason that it surprised me so much is because almost everyone I know that builds WordPress websites, they're kind of like developers. I mean, they're not necessarily to the point where they're like writing code or whatever, and like building themes from scratch.
Consultant designer types, aren't they?
It's not the actual business owner that's trying to build their own website most of the time. It's usually somebody that's coming along as a WordPress consultant helping the business owner. And that's what I viewed as like the main audience. And so now Gutenberg is in there. And what I'm hearing from all the WordPress developers that I'm connecting with is it's getting in the way. It's causing some problems, and that they just disable it and put the classic editor back in place. And so, and that's kind of interesting. It seems like there's really two different audiences. One, like the guy that's selling pens or cutting boards or whatever, and they want to have a nice place to kind of talk about it. Maybe set with WordPress to make publishing available. And there are people that know a lot about the internet. They know a lot. They're kind of digital marketing. I mean, they know about Facebook ads. They know about Google ads. They know about responsive design. They know they might not know enough to actually code it up from scratch, but they know what it is, how to get that kind of, those types of features built into a site. And that's a lot more than the average guy who just wants to be a blogger. And so I think there's two groups, and that's kind of an interesting thing. I know that's what you talked about. You also talked about little
now the argument is that all this integrate budget, actually, because having to use third-party plugins, doing a lot of JavaScript extension coding, it actually turned into more of a Frankenstein than if we had used WooCommerce. But if you're looking at just a bog standard kind of Woo e-commerce solution, I probably would say go and look at Shopify rather than WooCommerce. But then on the other hand, I've never come across a bog standard project, really. I don't know. I'm very confused about how to explain that to people. Have you got a bit more clarity
about how to set up like an e-commerce store for
how do you make a decision if you're going to go with either Shopify or WooCommerce, or if you're going to go with Kajabi or ClickFunnels, or you should go with a WordPress solution.
Okay, well, I know a lot more about the Shopify WooCommerce thing than I do about. I've never used Kajabi before. I've looked into ClickFunnels, and actually, I went to one of Russell Brunson's like talk things at one
A
point.
fantastic marketer.
Yeah, really, really. He kind of got me hooked in with that free book that he offers. Like, you know, he has that whole sales funnel with the free plus shipping kind of approach where you get the book. So I got the book. It was really interesting, and it's a great book. I mean, even if all you want is the book, that's a pretty good deal. But I've never actually signed up for a ClickFunnels account or a Kajabi account or anything, because I haven't really. I like to have more control over it. Like I know how to do that. I've been building websites for 17 years. And so I'm not really their target audience. Like you go to the ClickFunnels website, and it's like, hey, you know, do all this stuff and you're not handcuffed to a developer. And I'm like, I am the developer. And that's okay. But when it comes to e-commerce, I know a ton about that because I've been running an e-commerce platform for 10 years. And my membership site is powered by my own platform, which is Cart66. And the interesting thing about Cart66 was that we were around in the very, very beginning before there even was such a thing as WooCommerce. In fact, the folks at Automatic used Cart66 to power the WP swag store up until they decided to go with acquiring Woo Themes, which brought WooCommerce into the mix. And the reason that they made the decision was a really good one, which was they had a lot of physical products that they wanted to ship. And they had a fair amount of inventory for it. They were doing international orders, and Cart66 was never really intended for that. And so, and same thing with Shopify. So WooCommerce and Shopify, I think, kind of play in the same space, which is targeting people that have physical products as opposed to digital products, memberships, or subscriptions. I don't even think you can do subscriptions through Shopify. I don't think, but maybe you can. And wanting to be able to list all the products, like sort by category, have catalogs, you know, sort by ratings and pricing and alphabetically and all of these different things, kind of like in Amazon or something, where you just have like a ton of products. And both of those two platforms are similar in that. The thing that's really cool about WooCommerce, that kind of like you were talking about with Shopify, it's like if what Shopify has and you can kind of just like get in there and do it and you're happy with it, then awesome. If you want to change it, not so awesome. You know, it's like, but and kind of the opposite is true with WooCommerce. It's like nobody just wants, you know, the free version of WooCommerce. You know, you have to add some plugins into the mix. Whereas with Shopify, it's like, you know, the base stuff that you get is what a lot of people can use. Whereas with WooCommerce, like if you've got a really specific need, you know, like say you sell something like wine and you can't ship it to anybody who's under 18. And you have to therefore do like address verification and things like that. You know, there's stuff like that that's just not in Shopify. And if you need to get that in there, that's a hard thing to do. Whereas with WooCommerce, there's plugins available for that. So so that's kind of where I land with, you know, between those two things. Like if you're fine with the base stuff in Shopify, just go with it. If you need something a little bit, you know, more unique or custom, you know, get WooCommerce in the mix.
Yeah, I think just to wrap up our first half, I think you've put that, and it applies to Kajabi or ClickFunnels, is the problem is you've got to have the knowledge to know, is the bog standard solution really going to fit my business model right now? Because otherwise I'm going to go into a SaaS solution and I'm going to spend time and money on it, and I'm going to find it doesn't really do what I really need, and I've spent all this time and money. But being that you don't know that if it's your first attempt, it's exactly the same as e-commerce. So really hiring somebody to give you that knowledge or that advice can probably save you a lot of frustration, can't it, Lee?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
Right. We're going to go for our break, folks. We're coming back. We're going to be discussing with Lee his own journey with his own membership solution, what he's learned over the past, I think, year, 18 months. It's going to be a great conversation. We'll be back in a few moments. We're coming back, folks. Before we go into the second half of the conversation with Lee, I'd like to mention one of our great sponsors, and that's Kinsta Hosting. And we host the WP-Tonic website on Kinsta. Kinsta uses Google Cloud as their platform, but what you get is you get all the power of Google Cloud in a very usable interface, and you get superb 24/7 support from people that really know what they're talking about when it comes to WordPress and hosting, and you don't get that with a lot of companies. They're also of the specialized WordPress hosting providers. I think they're offering some of the best value at the present moment in their starter plan. And they're just a superb company to work with. I know the founder, the financial officer, and the marketing officer of the company, and they're all great people have built up a great business in the WordPress hosting area. So if that's interesting to you as either as a consultant, a developer, or a power client, superb solution for WooCommerce, for a learning management and membership website, go to kinster.com and find out more about them. So Lee, as we were chatting before we went live with the show, you decided to go into the e-learning training area and start your own membership site. So what are some of the fundamental things that have surprised you on this journey so far?
Well, there's the technical side of things, and then there's the business side of things.
I think we go in the business side, shall we?
Okay, so the business side of things that has been surprising is there's so many people out there who are sort of they want to have their own business. They want to. So the surprising thing to me with regard to the particular training program that I'm putting forth in terms of the membership side of things is that there's so many people that really want their own business. They're stuck in the, they're feeling a lot of financial pressure to try to do something about things, but yet they're insisting on doing it by themselves. Like they refuse to reach out for help. And one of the things, like, I know there's a ton of membership sites out there, and the kind of the point behind them is to help people not be by themselves. And the surprising thing to me is how many people kind of just insist, like if it's not free, they don't want to be part of it. And consequently, they stay stuck. And in fact, even dig deeper into the hole. Whereas if they just reach out and join a community of folks that really want to help them and have done it before, then their mindset will shift. And you can't grow a business that's bigger than your mindset. And I think that's one of the most surprising things that I didn't realize people didn't realize. Because if you don't have the mindset to actually grow a business, you'll never grow. The business won't grow itself. And it's very, very difficult to shift that by yourself. And if you're not willing to kind of join a community to get the help you're looking for, then you stay stuck. And the surprising thing is how many people just insist on staying stuck. And it's kind of been a frustrating thing in terms of, because you've got what it takes to help them. They just are uncoachable, I guess is what it comes down to.
So you think there is a minority of people that are uncoachable?
They seem to be. It seems to be, and like I was this way too. So I'm not like pointing the finger at everybody and saying that I'm different. Like I have the mentality that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to dig in and I'm going to figure it out. I can do this. I'm smart enough to figure this out. I just do it on my own, and I kind of resist wanting other people to help. I kind of have that inclination, and so do so many other people, especially in the WordPress community. And that's one of the things that's awesome about the WordPress community, to the point where it's like there's so many people that are resourceful and they can like dive in and figure stuff out and just kind of make things happen. And that's why the community and the ecosystem has evolved so rapidly and so powerfully. Like the stuff that used to be hard is now easy because people have come up and made plugins for that. And, like the Kinsta hosting, like, you've got the stuff like the backups and the staging sites and the security and like getting Google Cloud into the mix. It used to be really hard to pull that off. People have now said, hey, you know what? Let's make it easy. And so now people that otherwise wouldn't need help can still do all of those things by themselves. And so I think that's kind of brings this momentum where people feel like they can do everything by themselves to a fault. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest surprises. Like I didn't realize that was going to be the case. And it seems to be. So
as we were discussing, you have though managed to build a very quite successful membership platform in your target audience. So you found that some of those aren't coachable, how did you find the people that you were able to help, Lee?
So the way that I've done my membership program, which I think is significantly different from others, is I don't go for volume. Like, I don't just try to get anybody to sign up. And in fact, in order to get into the program, we need to talk in some way. Like, whether we meet up at a WordCamp or we get on the phone or through Facebook or something, because it's invitation only. Because I don't want people, there's two reasons. I don't want people to join the program thinking that they're going to get something out of it that I'm not putting into it, right? Like, it's like, if they, like, a lot of times people hear me say, oh, make $10,000 a month as a WordPress developer all by yourself, work from home. And people are like, oh, great, I'll just build plugins and write JavaScript and stuff all day long. And that's not at all what the program's, you don't write any code in the core. I mean, maybe a little CSS or something, but we're not building plugins and themes and stuff like that. It's much more of a business-minded thing. Like, what can we do to drive business results for people? And you've got the technical chops to pull it together. And so, like, I want to make sure that people want that. Like, that's kind of the outcome. And so we talk about that to see, hey, is this going to be a good fit? And then I'll legitimately ask people, I'll be like, are you in fact coachable? Like, before you get into the program, there's like 3 different traits that I want to make sure people have. And like, I want to make sure that they're committed, because if I'm going to show up and spend it's an 8-week course, the next 8 weeks, pouring 100% of my energy into helping you build your business, and you're not responding to my emails or you don't care, that's no good. Coachable is another thing. Like, if I'm saying, hey, here's what works. This is what, like, literally, I was just on an interview a couple of days ago with Brian. Brian's been in the program 3 weeks. He's made $24,600, starting at 0, a huge shift. There's Charlie, made 25 grand in 6 weeks. Another lady, Jessica, went from being a full-time school teacher to a full-time web designer in about 7 weeks. Another lady, Valerie, has a part-time job making about $26,000 a year. Now she's making almost $100,000 on the same part-time hours. In fact, we were just talking yesterday. Her biggest problem now is she has too many clients doing too much work. She needs to scale. And so, like, if I'm going to tell you how to do that. And if you resist doing that, that's going to be a big frustrating thing. And so, like, come in and just do what works to make a difference. So coachable is another thing. And then resourceful is the third thing, which is like, kind of like we were talking about before. It's like, if you're going to show up expecting me to do it all for you, that's not going to work. It's really critically important to me that the people I work with learn the skills to be able to do the kind of stuff themselves. I do it with you, not for you. And so I legitimately say, if I invite you into this program, do you feel like those 3 traits apply to you? And if they say no, then it's not going to be a good fit. Kind of like you were talking about before, like, there's certain people that are just not a good fit for working with you. And so, so that's kind of how I sort of make sure that people get results. Like, first, they want to make sure that that the goals that they have, the vision they have for themselves, is what I can help with. And if it's not, I'll say, I'm just totally open about that, because so many people want to be like, build their own Wix platform, but power it with WordPress, sell like $100 websites, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's not what we're teaching here. If you have an idea that you feel like's good, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you not to do it here. Like, I can't help with that. And so, so that's kind of the first thing. And then actually to make sure people have the traits for success. I think that's a really critical role to kind of like filtering out, who's a good fit and who's not.
I think it's fantastic what you've just said, and I just want to make sure that I've absorbed some of that fantastic knowledge you've just given us. And I think that's in your membership site. Don't be scared about not wanting to attract everybody. You're not there to attract everybody. You're there to attract the right people that will benefit from your course, because then your course will grow, because the people that first enter it have found value, and they will tell other people that you provide value. So it's counterintuitive when you're starting, because obviously you want to start making money for the membership site, but not taking everybody in and pre-identifying those that are uncoachable or not a good fit is just as important as attracting the right people. Have I got the right gist there, Lee?
Absolutely. I think you're right on. I also think, as a side note, we can talk about it later, is that it also applies to web developers. Like, if you're going to build a website for somebody, you want to make sure it's a good relationship and that you're being, intentional about building the business you want with the clientele that you want, so that when you wake up in the morning, you're totally jazzed to go to work, instead of, oh, good grief, I got to, listen to these people holler at me all day. You don't want that. So I think it really applies in a variety of areas.
And how long did it take you to build the syllabus of the course, the basic outline, and how much have you had to change that with the first few groups that have entered the course? And can you give some insights about that, Lee?
Yeah, it took me, probably took me maybe 6 months to really build the course. Now, if I had done it like all day long, full time, every single day of the week or whatever, I probably could have cranked it out a little faster. But I have other things kind of going on at the same time. And so I couldn't devote like my full time to like building the course. But like I took some serious time. There's probably 45 different individual lessons or so in there. And then another thing that I do is I'll add, like every week I get in there and do like a live training session. And that is based, like, as people go through the program, like legitimately, like just right before we got on this conversation, I added another program to the course because I was talking to some people that were just newly enrolled. And it's gotten to the point now where there's so much information and so many things that you can be learning that people are like, I need a better path than this. I need a step-by-step plan for making some progress. And so when we did our live training session yesterday, I went through like, let's not lose focus for what we're really doing. And here's a really simple plan to get started. And so like I add that kind of stuff into the mix. So it's constantly evolving based on the needs that people have as we're interacting kind of live, and people are asking me questions and that sort of a thing. So there's that part. But the core part of what really matters has always been consistent. And like the main thing is driving results for people. And I think that applies to a learning management platform or a website in general, even an e-commerce, whatever. Nobody really wants like just to have some kind of a membership site. They want a membership site that makes an impact for people. And so when you focus on the impact, the results, the outcomes, then everything else sort of follows suit.
I think you're spot on. We're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show. Hopefully Lee's going to stay on with us for a little while, and we have some bonus content, which you can view the whole interview on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel with the bonus content, plus on the WP-Tonic website, and with a full transcription of the interview with links. For the podcast part, Lee, I'm going to wrap it up. How is the best way to find out more about you, what you're up to, and your thoughts, Lee?
Sure. Yeah. So there's a couple of great ways to do it. The best way is just head over to doublestack.net and you'll see me right there. That's the online course powered by WordPress and Cart66. And, just send me an email through the contact form. Check it. There's probably 70 free training sessions if that's something that you want to check out. But I also have a Facebook group, which is also free. It's called Building High Value WordPress Sites. And so you can just hop over there and, join us there. And I'll do live training sessions every Tuesday there. And so that's another way we can get in touch. So if you just hop over to doublestack.net, you'll find all kinds of ways to get in touch.
Oh, that sounds great. And if you want to find out more about WP-Tonic and our services, go to the WP-Tonic website. We've been doing the podcast now for over 5 years, I've been told. And we've interviewed some of the biggest marketing people in marketing, online marketing, and also in WordPress. So it's a fantastic resource. Depending if you're a client, consultant, designer, or developer, you'll find some great information there. And if you're looking for help with a learning management system, I'm easily available, folks. We'll see you next week, where we have another great guest with insights about learning management systems, WordPress, or getting an online business going and successful. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye. So, I was really also interested in what you said about your discussion with Matt Maroweg, about him seeing that Wix was a main competitor. And Matt Medias from the Matt Report pointed out to me that there's a bit of a contradiction here. You've got automatic finance by VC money, but you also got open source project, and really the two things are totally contradictory. Do you think that might be a factor where the Wix, I can see why WordPress.com would need to really improve its page building and its layout experience. But when it comes to WordPress.org and the majority, which are consultants, developer, designer types need, don't really match up now. Do you think I've got something there?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Yeah. What I was talking about before with the two different audiences about people that are just kind of self-publishing, those are the .com people, all of the consultants, those are the .org people. And things are really, there's a lot of tension between the two. Like, for example, like suppose, a .com person would probably never install something like Beaver Builder or whatever. They just want to sign up for an account and start using it right away. Maybe put a theme on there to kind of make things look kind of custom to them. But going in and trying to find like specific plugins and page builders and doing all the things that, like a WordPress consultant would know how to do, that's totally over their heads. And in fact, I was working with a friend of mine named Sam. He sells cutting boards. He's like a woodworking guy. And for about a year, we tried to get him to feel comfortable with WordPress. And it was like, he has a really simple sales flow, which is somebody buys a cutting board that he handcrafts, he ships it to him. So it's a shippable product with taxes and things like that. And then people use it for 6 months. He wants to follow up with an email 6 months later and said, hey, you know what? Send it back to me. I'll refurbish it. It'll look like brand new. And so it's kind of like a little bit of a sales funnel-y kind of a thing there, but really basic. And so no problem at all setting that up in WordPress, but he could never get comfortable like changing the price. Like if he wanted to do a sale or if he wanted to add a new product, he was like constantly needing to call me for help, which is fine. That's why I was there, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to do it himself and just have control over the whole thing. But he didn't want to be a web developer. He wants to be a woodworker. And so he eventually moved over to Wix. And, I helped him kind of get pointed in the right direction. And then he pretty much built his whole Wix site by himself and is really happy there because he doesn't have to be a web developer. He's kind of like a WordPress.com kind of person, but you can't really do e-commerce on .com. So he set up with Wix. And so that's the kind of a difference. So there's people like Sam who just want to do things themselves. And then there's other people who they don't even want to touch anything. They just say, hey, you know what, can you change my price? Can you add a new product? Can you do whatever? And then they send that stuff to the WordPress developer. And it's just two different audiences, don't you think?
Yeah, but what you're woodworking, why is it just a price? Is it just to save money? Or what you're hinting, it isn't price because it sounds like it's got a reasonable business. It's the actual mental mentality of that individual. Some want control over everything. Others just want to concentrate on the business. Is that the fundamental two types that you found based on your extensive experience?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I think like people like Sam, they just want to. They want to be able, like, if they have an idea, they want to put it out there right away. If they want to put up a blog post, they want to do it themselves right away. They don't want to send the content to somebody and have them post it or whatever. They just kind of want to have their own little thing. And, if they want to change in a new picture, they add a new product or whatever, they just kind of want to have that control. And other people, like most of my clients tend to be like health professionals, like doctors and dentists and chiropractors and stuff like that. And most of them don't want to do, they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to, whatever, we have a new blog post. They just send me a Word document or something, and they just want you to take care of the whole thing. And they don't even care to touch this. They're like, hey, we do the doctor stuff, you do the web stuff. There's a big separation there. It just seems like there's just two different mindsets for different types of clients.
Because I thought the difference was those that had a successful business and were time poor. And those that were not having a very successful business, so they're time rich, but they're money poor. So, but I think what you're hinting is there's a bit more overlap, is that you can have, which is around control as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think there's both time rich, time poor people, and there's also hands on, hands off people.
Yeah, and that's why you can get somebody that is making reasonable money, but they want to get still involved in things which you think, well, I wouldn't bother with that. Right. I would concentrate on something that made the business more profitable, like marketing, whatever, personal appearances on podcasts,
Yeah.
whatever, that would generate hopefully more interest and more revenue for the business. And that's not area, but you seem to be saying it's also, in some ways, we're getting back to psychology, really, because we're kind of linked to this thing of some people are uncoachable, which is resistance, isn't it? Which is being clearly seen as a thing that does exist. I've read books about the obvious. We don't precisely know the total mechanisms of resistance, but anybody, it's been clearly shown that people that have had a heart attack and they've been told they need to change their lifestyle, most of them go back to their old ways quite rapidly, even though that will lead to another massive heart attack. So you think they would be extremely motivated to change their lifestyle, wouldn't you?
Yes. What you're telling me, I work with a lot of doctors, and what you're saying is exactly, I hear it all the time from people. Like, there's this one guy was telling me about this woman who has like gluten sensitivity and all kinds of issues, but the main problem, believe it or not, was French fries. She loved eating French fries, but whatever was in the ingredients would just wreck her system, where she was exhausted. She had upset stomach all the time, couldn't leave the house, couldn't really even hold a job with her stomach situation the way that was. So he helps her, change her diet, get some probiotics in the mix, and, remove the things that are causing her problems. She feels so much better. And then she goes back and eats the French fries. It's like, what? She couldn't not eat them. She just really wants the fries. It's a very interesting mentality. And kind of like you were just saying about the heart attacks. It's like, if you do these types of things, it's going to cause some problems, but it's really difficult to kind of get leverage on yourself, I guess, and change your ways. Yeah.
It was, I forgot the title of the book actually, but there was a book that was recommended to me that gave 3 groups. One was the heart attack. The other one were people that were hardened criminals, and how to effectively change somebody to not be a criminal, to give up on the criminal lifestyle. And I forgot what the third scenario was, but what I got from the book was that it was necessary. One of the key factors is motivation, but also mentorship. That mentorship in either a group of people is that without mentorship, it's very difficult to change something very fundamentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're hitting a really important point too. And this is something I talk a lot about like, if you're going to make a fundamental transformation in your life, then you need to be with other people to get that kind of help. You can't do that by yourself on Udemy or something like that with just kind of reading about it. You have to be part of a community to make that shift, because the problem is you don't know what you don't know, and your mindset's not right. But you also said another thing I thought was really interesting too, which was like, if you want to change a habit, like those types of things, in my personal experience, I agree. I'm no doctor or no genius about any of this stuff, but I found that if you want to change something about your life, it's very, very difficult to just stop doing a thing. Like, say you want to stop eating French fries or whatever. It's really, really hard to just say, you know what, I'm not going to eat any more French fries. And it's much easier. Like, if you want to have success, replacing the thing with something else that's beneficial to you. So like basically making a swap rather than a removal seems to be so much more effective and successful. So like, instead of eating French fries, which is going to wreck you, have something else that you like to do in its place. Maybe something that you could eat that you like, that's not going to cause the same problem, or at least something else. Like, just because if you take something out, it leaves a void there, and then that void tends to kind of grow bigger and bigger until it implodes, and the next thing you binge on French fries again. Whereas if you had something in its place, then I think you're on a much more sustainable path to success. What do you think about that?
I think you're spot on, and I think the other factor that is really linked to what you're offering, just to wrap this part of the show up, is that I'm trying to lose weight, right? I'm 6'1", and I'm a reasonably heavy build, right? but I've cut out all the alcohol, and then I'm measuring, and I've put on over about a 3-4 year period, I've put on probably 40 to 50 pounds more than I need, right? And I got into kind of self-denial and then criticization loop that you're overeating, that's terrible, you know, you should be able to have the will to not do that. And then I'm not doing anything about it, sod it, I just enjoy myself and have what I want to eat, right? And now I've cut out the alcohol. I wasn't a big alcohol drinker anyway, but I don't drink hardly anything now. And also got an app, and I've had to measure it. But the brutal fact is that somebody of my size, if I eat more than 2,500 calories per day, and I consistently do that, I will put on 2 pounds every month. And in 6 months, and then in 12 months, do the math. But on the same way, if I can keep my diet below around 2,000 and lose 2 pounds, in 6 months, I will rapidly get into a better scenario. So you've got to know, you've got to be aware. If you're not aware of that, it seems that it's a hurdle that's unobtainable, but you just need to be aware of the facts, and maybe that applies to what you provide to your students. They think it needs to be an enormous solution, but what it is they're doing small things wrong, and if they start changing that, they get a rapid result.
Yeah, that's especially appreciate that in the context of losing weight and diet and things like that, because you just can't. A lot of people think you can exercise your way into losing weight, but you can't. Like if what's going on in the kitchen is not supporting what's going on in the gym, you're never going to make the kind of weight. You might get fit. But you can be fat and fit at the same time.
Okay.
And so, in fact, it's better to be fat and fit than it is to be skinny and not fit. So that's an interesting point. Like if you just have a really sedentary lifestyle, but your weight is in check, you're actually less healthy than if you're overweight, but you actually have good cardiovascular health. So that's an interesting point to make. That I don't know if a lot of people think about the difference between, skinny but unfit people. Another thing is too, have you ever seen skinny people that are kind of flabby, like the fat skinny people? That's another thing that's out there. So, but the point about losing weight is like, if you're going to lose weight, you have to cut the calories in some way. Like, there's a variety of ways to do it. I happen to like drinking green smoothies a lot. Like I'll do a whole meal replacement just on green smoothies, and it's totally changed my health, which is how I got into it all. I got bit by a tick, which wrecked my health a while ago. And I can't eat red meat anymore. So I wasn't a big red meat eater anyway. So
I have a bit of meat. I'm not a full vegetarian, and I've cut the dairy products out enormously. And I try and have as much organic as possible, but you still got to measure everything. Because it's a fine balance between putting on 2 pounds per month and losing 2 pounds a month.
Yeah.
And people are not aware of that. Of course, and also, obviously, like most things, if you get into a reasonable balance, then you don't have to cut your calories down. So it's best to avoid this. But in America, unless you measure it, it is really very easy to get into a scenario where you're not stuffing yourself, but you are getting into a situation every month you will be putting weight on.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So that's
true.
Well, yes, folks, you were at the WP-Tonic, and it's become WP-Tonic weight loss. It's been fantastic talking to you, Lee. You must come back on the show. I've really enjoyed the discussion, and we'll be back next week, folks, with another great guest like Lee. We'll see you soon. Bye.